cái giá này không biết là nó niêm yết như thế này thì nó thấp hay nó cao? Tôi nghĩ là nó không là giá thấp.
Sao chị nói trước hết đi rồi em sẽ nói. Chỉ có 2 câu hỏi cho em lúc
Dạ.
mà trong cái text đó là chị nói là lý do là cái giá này có hợp lý hay không. Đối với
Dạ.
em cái câu trả lời mà khỏi cần dòm cái dòm sơ qua cái building này với lại cái location của cái building này á, cái địa điểm của cái location này thì sẽ không có giá này. Cái building này phải trên 2,5 triệu thì nó list rất là thấp. Còn mà tại sao nó list thấp là lý do rất là đơn giản thôi. Ở San Francisco á, khi người ta list property, mấy cái người agent á, họ được training lúc nào họ cũng list cái property dưới thị trường vào khoảng 25-30% để câu view. Còn cái câu hỏi kế tiếp là chị hỏi em căn nhà này giá này có mua được không? Có thể mua được, chứ không phải là không mua được. Nhưng mà cái căn nhà này nó đã lên thị trường là 41 ngày rồi, là nó vẫn còn nằm ở đây, có nghĩa là cái giá này nó bán không được. Thì khi bán không được nó có 2 nguyên nhân. Thứ nhất là cái giá nó mắc hơn thị trường, nhưng mà cái đó là không phải là cái nguyên nhân chính. Thứ hai là lý do là building này có trục trặc. Trục trặc là điều kiện thứ nhất là cái building này nó cần phải sửa chữa, hoặc là cái building này có low rise tenant. Đây là những thông tin chị không thể disclose cho người khác được. Nó có 4 unit ở trọng, mà một unit nó rent á, có unit dưới 500 đô một tháng. Còn những unit khác thì 1.800, 2 unit 1.800, một unit 1.500, là tổng cộng rent 100 có 40.000 thôi. Bây giờ cái market rent cho một cái unit mà chỗ khu đó, một phòng ngủ, một phòng tắm, từ 2.600 cho tới 3.000, 4 unit là phải rent tới 12.000 thì mới make sense cho người ta mới vô mua. Lý do cái building này còn nằm ở đây. Nếu mà chị muốn mua cái building, it's a good buy. Chị có question gì nữa không?
Mình mua cái building này thì những cái người rent ở chỗ đấy họ không thể đuổi họ ra được, đúng không?
Đúng. Lúc like thì em chưa có đó, cho là thông tin mình cũng chưa đào sâu. Nếu mà những người như trả dưới 500 đồng một tháng cho cái bộ cái unit 2 phòng ngủ thì mostly họ là được bảo vệ chính phủ, nên mostly chỉ có thể là buy or out. Lỡ là San Francisco nó có cái luật bảo vệ người mướn, nên cái đó em sẽ, nếu mà chị mua em sẽ đi theo, em sẽ nói chuyện với chị và em sẽ hướng dẫn cái tiếp. Cái gì cũng có thể được, nhưng cái số là bao nhiêu.
Nhưng mà nếu cái nhà này mà bid lên thì giá bao nhiêu?
Cái này em chưa biết. Cái sách này nữa em phải làm homework, mà chị phải work với em chứ. Cái chuyện này không có thể là 1 cộng 1 là 2 chị. Em phải đi request thông tin về căn nhà đó, em coi tình trạng sửa chữa căn nhà đó có retrofit chưa, có sửa chữa chưa, cái máy nó như thế nào, điều kiện ở bên trong như thế nào, em mới cho biết chị con số cụ thể hơn chút xíu, và bao nhiêu người interested rồi mình mới nói thì cái giá offer bao nhiêu. Bây giờ mình không nói được.
Vâng ạ.
Rồi có gì mình nói chuyện sau. Cảm ơn chị nhiều nhé. Hello everyone, this is Thomas. Today thank you for being here and watch my inside real estate with Thomas. The reason for this video because I got a lot of phone call, and one of the phone call I got from the client that interested to know one of the property listed below market price, and they don't know what to do. They say, is it a real or just a game? Why list is so low? And that's why I make this video for those out there who buy to probably on an event to go to Zillow, Realtor.com, Redfin, or you see something in your neighborhood, something that you travel in, and you see the property, let's say the market price for San Francisco right now about 1.6 to 1.8 for a single family home, and you have a 4-unit apartment in Inner Sunset and listed for 1.5. There's something wrong. Yes, it is wrong. That's why I want you to hear the conversation I just had with the client. Why the property being listed in the market so low? This is the number one reason that I've been in the market for a very long time, and I know why the agent list the property on the market so low. Yes, because they were trained to do that. They want to attract multiple offer and interest on the property, so they can create a bidding war and they can pick up the highest offer possible in the shortest time. This is how San Francisco agent best practice. They obtain the listing. Normally they recommend the seller put the property on the market below market, let's say about 30 to 40%, in order to get this sold pretty quick. But the listing price not necessarily the selling price. So they separate the listing, they put on the mail, the rest of the property, they have at least like 6 to 10 open house, Tuesday broker tour, Saturday, Sunday, 2 times for 3 weeks, and they set an offer day. So that in those periods, that's a number of marketing and social media broker that put that out there to get massive people to visit it, their broker tour, open house. Then they set a bidding war. You come to the open house, they're gonna give you a 500-page documentation disclosure for you to read, and then they say, okay, you want to make an offer, go, there's an offer for day, call me to an offer day, or you call your agent. That's how that works, right? And then that offer day, of course, if the property lists below market rate, there's a lot of buyers interested in that. They might have like 15 to 20 offer. That's my last experience with the offer for my client last month. They have like 17 offer on the house that listing for $875,000 in a very decent neighborhood. Average home price about 1.2. But they listed $899, so that's why they got 17 offer. Obviously, they're not going to sell for that price. They settled with my client for 1.25. So that's the strategy. If you have any question, I have a in-house intern, Kevin Kwan, that he's in training right now. If you have any question, you might want to come to forward, ask me.
What happens if they don't have offers at asking price?
That's a very interesting question. Most of the property, if they list at the price, they will sell in less than 30 days. An objective. For some case, the property don't get an offer, like the conversation you hear earlier. They have a tenant problem, the property overpriced. Then the reality doesn't come up the price that they want. They have to reset. Let's say they put the property 40% less than the market, and they want the property at 1 million, but they list only 799 or 699. They don't get any offer. After 41 or 40 days, they say, oh no, now I have to face the reality. They will relist the property at the actual price. That's the seller want, like $1 million. And this time, the seller will be disadvantaged because the people already know your price. Most likely they don't get that price anymore. So for San Francisco market, if your property not selling within the next 30 days, your price start to decline. Your price start going down by percentage. If you on the market more than 45 days, probably people could opt for less. They're not gonna be for more. So if you expect more than 1,000, and then they're not gonna pay for because it's not the price that they want, because they so that's how gonna happen. They have to reset the price, or they have to sell for less. Yeah.
So should I directly go to the listing agent to get more information or to make an offer?
That's a very good question, and the educated question is not recommendation. You could go to the listing agent to get the disclosure, but you need to get the disclosure because San Francisco, they have a very heavy, couple of 100-page disclosure, and that's something very technical. You might not familiar with all the rules and the regulation and all the defect of the property. The reason we not recommend you to use the listing agent, because here's the thing. In terms of ethical and honest, so the listing agent protect who? The seller, right? If you go in there, you get information, Do you think the listing agent to be honestly tell you everything about the property, who he or she will be protected? Of course, could be they have the fiduciary responsibility with their client, with the seller, right? They might cover something away from you. They might not tell you all the truth, right? For instance, let's say put in the perspective. Let's say you go buy that property from them, and then if you go to the court for some reason, something coming up after you move in the property, you realize that the defect that have been materially covered from you, or the listing agent did not mention it to you, the neighbor party in the weekend, something not under disclosure without the seller consent, but the listing agent know, the party gonna tell you, because, and then when you go to court, you go to arbitration, and the church gonna ask, the listing agent, who are you represent? Do you think the answer they say they represent a buyer? Obviously no. So that I'm not recommended.
So if I see another similar property that's also below market, what should I do? Should I buy it?
If you want to see a similar property attractive, there's a lot of people, not only you, but there's so, every time the agent put the underpriced property, it makes us work harder. Probably a lot of people, like my previous client, they immediately get a phone call to their realtor. They got to ask their realtor. If you see similar like that, if you don't have the tour, the realtor don't cost you anything, but you have to make a commitment to that realtor to representing you, to get information, work on your behalf, because the realtor, they have a license to obtain all required information at your request, right? If you wanted to, they work on your behalf and you don't pay anything. At this point in time, depend deal by deal, because the commission is negotiable. Most of them don't take anything upfront fee. You might use the realtor or the agent, or if you have the money, you can hire an attorney. You pay them few $1,000, maybe $5,000 retainer fee, and they can read and obtain the closure for you, because the listing agent might give the accurate information. Then at the buyer, you over yourself. That's my opinion and my experience.